Gus, this confused locker kid, and a bunch of these other people. Brenda Turner, quit manifesting. Thomas Delore. Oh, the Kerrigan. Okay, he's different. Okay. Who else is there? The functional mellow. I don't know, but let's look at some of these people that are trending. Okay. And making these statements, and they are outlandish statements, of course. I have no idea who Neville Goddard is. I have no idea who he is. This is the first time I've been introduced to Neville Goddard. I've never had a conversation with Neville Goddard. Kaylin, Marissa, she's trending. She does videos out of her car like a lot of people do. I don't know who she is. I didn't know who this Elmer Locker Jr. kid was either. I am the guy on planet Earth that has scientific projects that prove that most communications in the world going to and fro. Neville Goddard, don't know who he is. Okay. You're entering your millionaire phase. Okay, that's why I don't know who he is. But I don't know who most of these people are. Most people that claim they're talking to Jesus are not talking to Jesus because I don't know who they are. And a lot of times, me and Jesus will talk and I go, who's that? He says, he's been talking to you, Earl. You're just finding out about him, and life's eternal, grace is infinite, and the spirit of Jesus during the 20th and 21st century is Earl. Okay. At the end of the 20th century is Earl. Okay, so he's not talking to you. He's talking to himself and claiming that if you don't have people give him $1 million that you're going to kill him. Okay, Jesus, I get it. I'm good to go. I got you. Cha-ching, I get it. And so, if I don't know who you are, and you're telling people you talked to Jesus and Jesus said, scientific evidence through Fort Huachuca following eternal communications through these things, the noggin, Ark of the Covenant, they know for a fact you're full of shit. If I don't know who you are, you're not talking to Jesus. Okay. Wow. Yeah. If I don't know who you are, you're not talking to Jesus. You're talking to yourself. Now, they wrote down a story about Jesus in a book called the Bible. That's a reflection of the story of Jesus in printed word. That's not Jesus. It's what somebody else thinks Jesus was saying, and they wrote it down. Okay. So you think you can know Jesus from that book, but in order for Jesus to know you, I have to know who you are. Do you understand? Bob Marley, he talks to Jesus, okay, because I know who Bob Marley is. Haile Selassie, of course, okay. Steve Biko, Steve Biko said, I talked to Jesus, and he said, but Steve never said that, okay. Me and Steve have had conversations, but they're very pragmatic and very intelligent. And they're not about, I'm going to go use this to make $1 million as a televangelist preacher in South Africa. He was just asking me, this is crazy. And, we need your help to help collect and clean all these horrible, egregious things people are doing in the eternal spirit of in your name. Like, yeah, it's true. But they learned that from Haile Selassie, right? And so, and the writings that he wrote down were changed by the CIA. So if you're reading the Abrahamic Bible, you're reading a reflection of what you think is Haile Selassie, and it's not. It's a reflection of a rewrite by the Central Intelligence Agency to continue tribal genocidal operations through computer operating systems. Right. So you're like, you got to understand. Okay, Haile Selassie is not your God, and your God is in black and in the sky and ready to take over like the Wrath of Farrakhan on a living color. Seriously. Fuck, they're fucking nuts. Okay. Crazy people are very crazy. Okay. And if crazy people aren't able to explain to you that they're crazy, and they're not able to explain to themselves that they are crazy. Okay. If Elon Musk could self-correct, he would. Okay. If most Nobel Prize winners could self-correct and stop being excessive and compulsive and trying to quantify the universe with their brain, they would, but they can't. You can't just submit to faith in God and then obey natural laws and love one another, and then when you need to work on something and do something, make sure people are okay, you will. No, they can't. Okay, if they could, we wouldn't be in this situation. They wouldn't have taken people that have similar brain activities to myself throughout other parts of the world that they had genetic sequences of that they were aware of and plugged them into computers to manipulate the masses with their calm, kind thought process. They could sit there and just, you can't, look, guys, if you're like DT Suzuki and you're taken as a baby and you're plugged into a computer, okay? It's like that whole thing that happened at NSI with the one kid that Nate made him own the responsibility, and the little girl, they almost got the program shut down because the little girl that got, they were in a town and this guy was like, fuck her, I'm going to kill you and then kill her and, I'll fuck her and kill her, so he made her, the guy I get you to do whatever I want, and he made the guy have sex with the girl, okay? And the guy, I'm sorry, but, and she goes, I know, and this happened, and the kid said that's what happened, and Nate said, no, you have your own decisions, you've got to own that, and the kid said, I'm not owning it, because I think I saved her life and both our lives, because I think the guy really would have done it, and the little girl came and said, yeah, the same thing. I feel, and Nate, they're just doing it because they're teenage kids and they want to fuck and they're making up stories because she liked it and he liked it. It's like, so even if that's the case, it's their life. Leave them alone, you fucking psychotic little Navy SEAL. Get off their backs. You don't need money to pay your bills. You don't need to kill people to get money to pay your bills. Your goddamn fucking circus gimmick. Shut up. Okay. Fuck. Okay. You get mad. Okay. You get real mad. It's hard to explain to crazy people that they're crazy and they cannot self-correct. They will keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results and saying that they're the great peacekeepers and they're the law. They wrote it down on a piece of paper and a bunch of other crazy people agreed to it, and that makes it so. They're totally insane. And you cannot talk to them. You cannot correct them. If Jesus is a comic book character in their head, that's who he is. My dad doesn't think that. No, because my dad was told the last time my dad talked to Jesus, he said the last time he talked to him, he said, you're of no help to me and your time is your own. Okay, you cannot help me. You do not listen. You do not obey. Your time is your own. Stop bugging me. Stop beefing me. Stop talking to me. I don't want to hear it. That's what Jesus told my dad. He told me that. That's the last time he talked to me. Okay? And I said, oh shit, Dad's talking to Jesus. Because if you tell Jesus what to do, and you keep telling him what to do, no, Jesus, you're wrong. America's going to win the war, and we're going to, no, you're not obeying me. You're not listening to me. That's not going to work. That's like being one of those Buddhists and one of those, like Jerry says to me about that, You're like one of those Buddhists that say, because God is the chair. No, God is the essence of the chair. Okay, God is the essence of all life. So if a man cuts down a tree, okay, and builds a chair, is the chair holding you off the ground, or is the glory of God holding you off the ground through the man and the tree? That's what I'm saying. So all glory go to God, not to the man who built the chair. Oh, praise the man who built this chair. Praise God for giving life to the tree and the man that built the chair to keep your ass off the ground and keep your head straight. Listen to me. Don't listen to you. You suck at it. You think you're all Roberts, right? Hey, Jerry Falwell, go light up some flames at Liberty University, right? It's a total crock of shit. And it doesn't stop. And it's really irritating, especially when you have to correct their taxpayer dollars and their technology from mass murdering the over there from the halls of Montezuma. And the assholes in China and Japan are just as big as assholes as the assholes here. Okay? So if DT's plugged into, so the person like DT, the molecular structure, a little baby that's the temple for the soul of Taro Suzuki is plugged into a computer in Japan, and he has to jump inside somebody's head. It's okay. He's just gonna have to talk them through it. Okay, and walk them through it like Jesus did with me. Just get up and go to the bathroom. Natalie will leave the room. Thanks, Jesus. That was really uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable situation. Well, I knew everybody because of the Patriot Act, and the Situation Room at the White House was most likely watching. And hey, I wonder if he's going to go for it. I wonder, it's going to be Cinco de Mayo in October in Cochise County. And I didn't know what was happening. I was just uncomfortable. I was like, what the fuck? They know. They have a virtual presence. They have the thing signed off on here because of the boat right thing being a sex offender in the state of Arizona. Why are they doing this? This is not necessary. Why don't they just stand up for a Lord's Prayer like I told them at work? It's not time yet. According to people that give us Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and so on, so on, so forth, right? It's not time to live the Lord's Prayer yet, right? And then you get Sam Harris. I don't know if I'm part of a computer program, and that's what these people are talking about. I went over and explained it to Dad. Dad, they think we're on a loop, that we're all batteries plugged into a supercomputer, to big computer in the future, and that we're on a loop. But I don't feel that way, do you? And he didn't say anything. He just sat there. And we talked about the softball game. And I said that's what Sam Harris thinks. Okay. Because Sam Harris is not part of the loop. Okay. He's not sure if he's a battery for a computer in the future invented by people like him. It's like it's probably a program in your head thinking this is your future and this is your past and this is your future and you're never going to get away from this past or future. You're nothing more than a battery for a computer because I'm going to have more robots than there are cars in India in the future, right? That kind of thinking, right? And I've told people that many times. How do you know that your visions of the future are your actual future, or if they're a computer program programmed by an asshole who wants to kill you off because they want to decrease the surplus population for a better quality of life for themselves as they perceive it? You don't know. Right now, that's very, are we living the Lord's Prayer worldwide? Are we using the technology to share the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer worldwide? Then don't believe anything you tell yourself when you wake up after you have a dream and think, I'm going to be the most famous problem solver in the history of academia. Don't do it. Right? You'll end up like Elon Musk. Where are you at? On the North Pole. In the North Pole. Okay, shit. Why the fuck am I in the North Pole? Am I dead right now? Because if I walked this and that, wouldn't I have died before I got the whole little thing done in the North Pole? Where would you be at? I don't think we'd be at the North Pole. I think I'd be somewhere dead in between this math equation. What do you think? If I'm walking, maybe if I had some kind of a crazy, let's make a Fast and the Furious movie with a yellow submarine up near the North Pole, but let's not do that. Let's not say we did, okay? Gosh damn, Jerry Bruckheimer, you suck, right? And if you don't know you suck, Megan Fox, kick him in the dick and let him know he sucks, okay? Love does not hurt. Tell Machine Gun Kelly he's a dipshit, okay? And I proved it to him a long time. Infinitely? No. I don't think I'm God, and I'm not Jerry Falwell with my flames and liberty for more money, right? I'm not insane. I'm not. If Jesus said, if y'all don't give me $1 million, he's going to kill my ass. Okay. We're just going to not give you the money and see if Jesus kills you. That's what I would have done. It's like, no, don't give him the money. See if Jesus really does it. See if it's for real. You guys are stupid. Yeah, no. Don't give him the $1 million and see if Jesus really kills him. And then if Jesus wasn't really killing him, he goes, then you don't have to worry about the person saying you need $1 million or he's going to kill you. I mean, why? Shit, he's going to hold his breath till he dies. No, he'll just pass out, wake up and go, hey, I want my $1 million or Jesus is going to kill me. Hold your breath until you die. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? You're funny. I know. Okay. And I understand why my videos are, quote, anonymously correcting all quantum computing globally and artificial general intelligence. I understand completely. It's not Sam Harris. It wasn't Chris Hitchens, the greatest orator of our time, according to Richard Dawkins. He was the greatest speaker in the history of our time. Okay. He was still alive when I was making videos on YouTube in Cochise County, right? You still stand by that statement? Have you ever said no, that I was wrong? I was, Fonzie, I was wrong. I was wrong. No, I've listened to Parsons over the last 15 years, and he is a much better public speaker than Chris Hitchens ever was. I was wrong. Jump the shark. Hey, shortcake. Come on. Hey. Would I turn off the fats if I wasn't serious? Right? I found my throat. But his best song to me is I Want to Walk You Home. But a lot of you guys like Blueberry Hill. I like I Want to Walk You Home a lot better. I like Walking to New Orleans. I like all his walking songs. I like walking to New Orleans. I want to walk you home. I'm walking, yes, indeed, and I'm talking loud, you and me, and I'm hoping that you'll come back to me. What you gonna do when the well was dry? You gonna break? I like them better than Blueberry Hill. Yeah, I found my thrill in Blueberry Hill. That's like third or fourth or fifth or seventh time. It's not my favorite. My favorite, I think, is I Want to Walk You Home. I love that. Boom, I wants to walk. I like the way you walk. Boom, boom, boom. Any of us can relate to that, right? Well, a lot of you can relate. I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. That's true. That's true. Because the girl, she was on Blueberry Hill, and that was the thrill. And for you were my thrill on Blueberry Hill. All right, there's sexual connotations to that. Yeah, more so than I Wants to Walk You Home. You look so good to me, woo-wee. I wish I was the lucky guy who could walk right home on by your side. I like that song. It's my favorite. Walking to New Orleans is also good. And I'm walking, yes. I'm walking, yes, indeed. And I'm talking. You'll come back to me. What you gonna do when the hair was dry? That's a good. I like Fats too. Yeah, Fats is pretty good. Anybody else like Fats Domino? Yeah. But it's all right, girl. Okay, guys. Gosh, damn, these people are dumb. It's just God, they're dumb. Yeah. You guys are the dumbest smart people in the history of smart people, huh? No, there's no real evidence to show that we are a battery plugged into a computer at this time. That there are people that would that are addicted to what they're doing and would try to go to that perception of virality in the future, that's most viable for most people that are feeding their face and taking up space. It's clinically insane. Keep your fingers crossed and hope that our Earl trends worldwide. We go to Inagata Davida, return, the Garden of Eden. The guy, get the words wrong, the actual, it's on The Simpsons, Matt Groening, the bus driver man. Okay, but Otto, the bus driver man. Yeah, guys, it only makes sense that we would restore our ecosystem, restore our polar ice caps, and that we would do things intelligently, not to try to replace our existence, what we perceive as a natural selection of evolution, by the technology replacing the human being, when the human being can exist without technology, but technology cannot exist without a human being. Light can exist without truth. Truth can exist without lie, but lie cannot exist without truth, right? So trying to make your mind into a computer that lives forever to answer all the questions to infinite, trying to grasp the infinite with the finite will drive you mad, so don't even try. Hey, wager. Hey, Pascal. Hey, nice triangle. Do you see what I'm saying? So, you're funny. I know. But it's these people, I don't even think I look at those things like with you're entering your millionaire phase. Neville Goddard. Okay, he was an idiot. Okay, you're not on God's path. 8 signs you're truly walking God's path. Okay, God's omniscient, omnipotent. Okay, sit in the chair. What's holding you up? Okay. What's this? Dash cam footage. Britney Spears DUI. Oh, poor Britney. Yeah, money's not real. She just needs some time to just sit down and just be Britney, Push yourself to organize your life. 7 principles will organize your entire life. Okay, forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Share, care, given accordance to needs, built to last. If you can't stand up for this, why are you giving people advice, you little troglodyte? Shut up. Stop buying soap. Okay. I don't understand these people. There's another one. How to talk to the universe. The universe is listening, Alan Watson. Basically, what he's saying is all things are connected, and you're like I talk to the trees and tell the dogs, I'm doing this under, against my own will, and I'm under duress, and these people are abusing me because they're psychotic, and I'm a nice person, but they're not. Okay, the entire story of the Jetsons, 1962, in 27 minutes. It's a cartoon for marketing that held products hostages, and we're still doing that. and it's an alternate reality, and you're a son like Elroy. Okay, I'm just kidding. When motorcycle chases get out of control, moments before his death. People are insane. They're saying they'll do anything to trend. It's like Andy Warhol on crack that just won't stop. It's nuts. 13 demonic traits of narcissist. What's the first one? You think you're God. You keep talking to God and telling God what to do so you can make money online. You're funny. Blood Oath, 2026. De Niro and Al Pacino. English crime. Okay, English is a crime? I lost myself. You don't realize they're destroying you until you're empty. Don't think that you have to pay them to live here because you'll feel empty. But the moment you realize you don't have to pay them to live here, you'll be like, oh, this is cool because that sucks. And there's this new bred global truth. The way people treated you will eventually catch up with them. Dude, just like this, I used to probably think that, oh boy, she's cute. Kayla and Melissa, she's cute. Yeah, there's lots of cute girls out there that are dumb as a box of rocks. Like I used to tell, Natalie, don't be like your mom's been being, a real fun place to put your penis and a horrible place to put your heart. Yeah. Amy didn't mean to. Amy was a science project by perverts in military intel. And she's dumb. She's easily manipulated. When you want to survive and you're being sexually groomed and abused by perverts in military intel, it's easier for people to, quit manifesting and make a fortune. Brenda Turner. And what's your fortune? Your family is faithful and that's your wealth. Be like Nesta. Okay, Brenda? Be like my cousin Nesta. Okay. He was murdered by the cancer industry through the Tuskegee experiments in the 1970s. That's a reflection of him sued by the artist Loving Hand. Isn't he gorgeous? Yeah, he is. Okay. So there's your fortune. Okay. Find a gorgeous man that loves you and wants to live a faithful life with you and live through your loving your children. There's your fortune right there, Brenda Turner. You're cute. You're cute. She's cute. They're cute. They're always talking. Like Megan Thee Stallion is selling drinks for Dunkin' Donuts because they'll give her a bag full of money to have sex with. Girl, you need to get out of Sex in the City, and you need to... Javon Ruth Pete. I like that name a lot better than Megan Thee Stallion because you're not a stallion. You're a mare. I hope there's not a twig and berries between that legs because, it's like, oh, God, she's like RuPaul. She's not a woman, but I've seen pictures of you naked. I was like, wow, that is one of the most attractive naked women I've ever seen. One of the most. Not the most, but one of the most. Who's the most attractive naked woman I've ever seen? Barack Obama will tell you. Yeah. Okay. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. Didn't mean to. I'm not making anybody jealous. Her mother knows it. My son's mother knows it. That's the most attractive naked woman I've ever seen. I haven't seen a lot of naked women. But I've seen physically attractive, yes, because she was like at her prime and her peak when when Stephen Hawking wants to invade the house and have sex with her through virtual presence, through Sam Harris is not sure if he's a computer programmer or a human being, right? Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton knows what I'm talking about. Joe Biden, if he still has any cognitive functioning skills know what I'm talking about. Donald Trump knows what I'm talking about. So does Melania. So does Ivanka. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. It's all about the boat ride bedroom. It is. And there's no Earlstein files. No, there's no Earlstein files. Earl is the most protecting, beautiful person in the history of home invasion through mind fucking, through scientific abusers that think one of these days you're going to be a battery for my computer and I'm going to have more robots because we won't need the cards because you'll be plugged into a computer as a battery for my robots. Wow. Okay. That's from Eastern perception of it. Guys, they told me they've been plugging people into computers in Korea a long time back. Okay, this is something that's been going on in our in military bases worldwide. Okay, for a long time. Okay. They told me this was happening in Sierra Vista. I was like, I've seen the movies, but you guys are full of shit, man. Would you put it past them? Oh, hell no. Not with what they did in my house, in the boatwright bedroom, and in that apartment in Sierra Vista. No, I wouldn't put anything past these perverts. Natalie's right. You perverts. They are. The reason why she called me a pervert when I said I was like you, and I think I thought like you did too, because they were putting thoughts in her head that were sexual. Okay. And she thought I was having the same thoughts. So she called me a pervert. And I'm like, yeah, I am, but I'm ignoring those, and I'm just trying to talk you through puberty because your mom won't. Okay. Trying to help you through puberty because I love you. Okay. And it's like holding the ocean back in a broom, and I was 13 and 14 once, and I understand, is what I was telling her. And she called me a pervert. I'm like, I'm not a pervert because I wanted to have sex with just about every girl in Colville, Washington that flirted with me. And their mom? If their mom was single, yes. Because I'm a heterosexual male. I want to make every woman I see, I'm a heterosexual male. And it's like, Harry Met Sally, Rob Reiner, right? Okay, and so, yeah, you can't help yourself. And so that's why Amy would always talk to me about the thing about April Bryan and her mother. It's like, why is it? Yeah, I technically, yes, if it was like she was a 17-year-old of her mom and they hadn't have told me about the 3-year-old being on the back of her dad while he was having sex with her mother, I very well might have ended up, but I wouldn't have. Why? Because Bob was dating her and Bob liked her and that was his dream girl at the time. And I just couldn't do that to my best friend. Yeah. It didn't matter how hot Mrs. Bryan was and how hot April was. I couldn't do that without thinking, I can't do this to Bob. This is, where I sit there and tell him, okay, Bob, instead of seeing her as a girlfriend, you be one of my apostles and we'll have a menage a trois with her and her mom. But when the 3-year-old on the back with the thing, that was a whole bucket of ice water. But she was very pragmatic and very honest with me. She told me everything, which really helped. Then I could make an informed decision and say, no, I don't want to participate in that. Okay. But if it was a 17-year-old of her mom that said, you look like Barry Gibb from Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway, and we would like to have a menage a trois with you, that would be very hard. If I met her at school and she, instead of talking to Bob and Bob talking to her, and she said that to me, I'd like to introduce you to my mother. And then they sat down and said that, then that would be a very difficult situation, especially if they're both sitting there and didn't read me diaries and didn't tell me all that stuff, and both sitting there at my knees, sitting there looking up at me with those big brown eyes and those full lips saying, you've never had a girl orally gratify you? They would love to do that for you. It'd be very hard if I didn't have as informed of a decision because I was being a good friend to Bob with his girlfriend and reading her diary and going, okay, I'm not the guy, Cy and Jamie from The Fix, and me and Bob are not homosexual and we don't have sex with each other. We're not going to have sex with each other. Why we have sex with you? That's why when Blink was reading her diary at 2 o'clock in the morning in the back of that Barracuda, me and Bob were joking because we were half asleep and couldn't stay awake, and she's looking at him and go, what do you think, Link? And Link sit there because he was raised to be a good Christian, and he goes, oh no, it's a boner. Me and Bob, she goes, and she got mad at us, you guys are so immature, you're so immature. Okay. She wanted us to fulfill her sexual fantasies, and we couldn't, as we were raised with, Bob's mom, I'd do her. Oh, what a man. You do that for her, huh? So, we were all raised in our own way to respect women and respect marriages and try to respect families. And they were raised to respect that too, but their form of respect to try to survive the fuck and the tribalism was radically different than ours. I don't think April Bryan and her daughter and her mother were monsters. I think they were just reacting to the monsters all around them. Oh, I used to have monsters in my room at night. Desire, despair, desire, despair. So many monsters. 28-year-old executive, parents for counseling trans surgery. Destroy your capacity to sexually reproduce We need less of you. All of us rich people that have the best science projects would like a better quality of life without you in it. That's basically what's happening right now. How do you stop the thick hair through science projects and people trending? Forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace, restore the ecosystem, restore your sanity, and be a decent person, and not have to put people like myself through these kind of scientific studies and these kind of situations that I have to deal with on a daily basis every day, trying to talk to people. Let's just lift the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Just forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Money is an evil invention for the stupid to try to feel successful at being evil. Stop it. Okay? Do you guys understand? This is a very complex and deep conversation. Well, I have to fix the Pentagon, the Situation Room, and the White House. And if they can't fix themselves, well, I'll do it for them. Somebody's got to love the kids, right? All right, peace out, man. And keep the 3-year-olds off the back while having sex. It's not appropriate. Kids don't maturate and don't have sexual feelings to urge to reproduce until the ball sack drops and they start menstruating. So leave them alone until then. As far as sexuality, just protect them, and then when they get older, help them make good decisions, because you have to be mature to provide care for a child and have a wife that's capable of doing it too. Okay? Grow the fuck up. Consider this your bar mitzvah.